4. Hi there, first graders. My name's Frank Ciccanti, and this is my restaurant. Let's go inside. Come on. Okay, kids, we're inside the restaurant now. So what we're gonna do first is we're gonna talk about what I'm wearing, my uniform, if you will. So technically, chefs wear cooking pants and they're checkered. The reason they're checkered because it's like our camouflage. So when we're cooking and we might maybe get sauce on us or like oil spills or even flour. So for us, this is our camouflage. Black is a popular color, again, hides stains. I did mention my name was Frank outside when I had you guys come into my restaurant. It says Junior here because my dad's Frank. I'm a junior and I go by this. And sometimes maybe you kids have nicknames. I like this because it gives me my own identity. Different from my dad because they both call us Frank. People are going to get confused. We're both going to turn our heads constantly and, you know, who are you asking for, me or him? So this keeps me and has me my own identity. Next we have our apron. So back in the day, I don't know if he's around anymore on TV stations, but Mr. Rogers would have his cardigan or sweater he'd put on in every show and put his little shoes on. And so this again is a way of keeping ourselves a little bit less messy. The first thing we're going to do is your teacher, Mrs. Dubiak, wanted us to make a recipe together. So I figured we're in an Italian restaurant, why not make pasta? So we're gonna go down to the table, we're gonna show you the ingredients, and we're gonna start, and we're actually gonna make pasta from scratch. We're gonna cook it, and you can eat it really, really quick. Okay, we're gonna move on now. Okay, one thing I forgot to mention, the mask. Okay, so yes, we have to wear masks in here while we work, part of COVID policy. Right now, I'm not wearing this because the person, Dennis, who's filming right now, is 6 feet away, and we know we both don't have COVID. We've been tested many, many times because we work together. So we keep this here, so when we do have to have it, it's easily, we pull it up, you know, and we keep safe, you know, keep everybody safe. So now, moving on to the pasta. That's why we're here for the demonstration. So down below here, I have 1 cup of flour. This is just regular all-purpose flour. In Italy, they use semolina. It's called 00 pasta, which is a little bit more hard to get. It's a little more expensive too, but this does the same purpose. We have a little bit of salt here, olive oil, 2 eggs. So we're gonna get started real quick, okay? So we're gonna make a little well in the flour, or a volcano. We're gonna put 1 egg in there, and then we're gonna take the egg. All we're gonna need is the yolk. It's gonna give pasta the color, so the yellow is like our food dye. Okay, we'll move these off to the side. We don't need it anymore. We're gonna do a little, just a pinch of salt. A little drizzle, maybe we'll call that a teaspoon of olive oil. And then the fun part. We're gonna start mixing this, okay? Now if it gets away from you, it's fine, go chase it. And this can get a little bit messy, but that's okay. This is the fun part. I'm sure you kids would love to do this at home. And I'm sure you could, because in the past, I've had different Girl Scout troops, and we did this together, and I helped them get their cooking badges. And we made pasta. They all made it. We all ate it together. They all loved it. Simple, simple. Sometimes that's the best things, the simple things. So now once we get this pretty good like this, put this off to the side. And I have my food scraper here. So now at this point, we're gonna do this, just mix it in until we get that traditional pasta dough which you kids might be already familiar with. Okay, so now we're doing a little fast forward here because I'm almost done, but I do want you to see how I went from one part, and this is where you knead the dough. This takes about anywhere from 6 to 8 minutes. You don't want to overdo it because then you're going to make your dough too stiff. You want it to be nice and soft. So just keep doing this over and over again. Some people do this thing, it's called the heart technique, where you go like this. And I mean, not that it really looks like a heart traditionally, but like that type of heart. But I just use the palm of my hand and just keep going out and out. But see the color? That yellow comes from the egg yolk making it. If I used all egg whites, it would be more white like the flour is. And you can make it just with whites. And one girl I had here actually had an egg allergy. So I had to do some research and figure out how to make pasta without eggs. So for her, what I did was, instead of eggs, I used some warm water, and it worked out just fine. And she ate it. She liked it. And when you're done kneading this, the way you know you're done is you make a ball. Now you put it down. Now if you poke it and it springs back like that, you're done. So what we normally would do is we get some plastic wrap. Put it in here. You could rub olive oil on it if you want. You don't really have to. Close it up. Put it in the fridge for about an hour. Come back. Let it get room temperature to where it's nice and soft. You want it really nice and soft. But for purposes of demonstration, we're just going to move on. And we'll get started on making the pasta. That's the restaurant phone. Even though we're closed on Mondays, people still call, but I have the answer machine on, so I don't have to answer it at the moment. So we'll start off with one piece. Got my rolling pin here. Put this on the rolling pin. I'm gonna roll this out. So, this is the old school way of doing it, and people still do it this way, which is absolutely fine. But working in a restaurant, you need things done quickly. We have our machine, and it's right behind me, and I'm going to show you how we use it. And believe it or not, this one little cup of flour and those 2 little eggs is going to make more pasta than you think. So, now we're going to go to our machine here. Okay, so now we have our pasta dough here. This is our machine. This is a stand mixer that you would think will always make cakes with it or some kind of a batter. But these little attachments here is going to help us get our dough done a lot quicker. So we're going to run it through once and then another time. And these dials here, every time we turn the dial from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, the flour dough is going to get thinner and thinner and thinner. We want to get it to the point where we can see our hands through the back of it. So see how this pasta is getting longer? It's getting thinner all at the same time. So here I'm going to cut this in half. Because it's going to get too long, it's going to be harder to control. gonna dial it all the way up to the last one. Just gonna do this quickly. You guys get the idea. All right. So, can you see my hand through there? Okay, so that means your pasta is spinning. So at this point, we're gonna take this attachment off. And this one here makes our spaghetti. I have one here that makes fettuccine. It's a wider noodle. Okay. Run it through. And there we are, look at that. Looks like strands of hair, huh? Okay? So what we would do at the restaurant, we would take this and fold it until we needed to use it. And these, actually they're called, we call them bird's nests because they look like a bird's nest. So we have this kind here, and we also have this kind here that we use for other recipes. This is spinach pasta, okay? We can't make all of our pastas here because that would take up a lot of time. So we're gonna make a couple more, then I'll show you something else we could do. Okay, so another thing we're gonna make really, really quick is because the girls' side was fun to make. So we got our little pasta nests here, okay? So we got one more piece of pasta dough left. And what I'm using here is my pasta. And I'm gonna make little rectangles. All right, so what we're gonna do with this here, we're gonna make bow ties. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna use these fingers, thumb, pointer, middle. Pointer goes in the center, and we're just gonna squeeze together like this. And there's our little bow tie pasta. These are fun to eat, and they're also fun to dye with food coloring, which we're gonna get to that a little bit later. I wouldn't recommend eating it with food dye, but making arts and crafts with it, definitely. So there. A couple bow ties for you. We got our spaghetti. Next step is we're gonna go over to the stove. We're gonna cook this. I'm gonna show you how fast it is to cook fresh made pasta compared to the store-bought pasta from a box. Okay, we're gonna go to the stove now. Okay, so now we're at the stove here. I got boiling water, got our pasta. Always season our water with a little bit of salt. Okay, so when we cook pasta that's store-bought and it's the stuff we're used to, like rigatoni or ziti, anything like this, when we cook it, the box usually says anywhere from 7 to 10 minutes. But when we make it fresh, how long do you think this is going to take? I'll let you guys guess right now while I'm cooking this. It's going to drop in, it's 2 of these little bird's nests. So, as you can see in the water here, it's starting to float. I got a pan here just with butter on the side. And while you guys are coming up with your guesses, we'll see if any of you were right. So see how it's floating? The pasta's pretty much done. We're gonna leave it in there maybe another couple seconds. It's important to have boiling water. If you put it in regular sitting water, it's not gonna cook. Okay, so a little time went by. Guys, I'm sure you're ready with your guesses. You can shout them out. I'm sure Miss Dubiak will like that. So, 2 minutes, that's all it's gonna take. So we're gonna transfer this pasta, we're gonna get the water out. Put it in here, in our butter. Toss it around. Now for flavor's sake, add a little fresh parsley. I like the color too. Okay. also some Parmesan cheese. Flip it, add it. Okay, so that's that. We got a bowl here. This. Get our tongs. Okay. Now you can put anything you want in here, any type of food, chicken, seafood, vegetables, sauce, big time in an Italian restaurant. So, see that? You got a meal. How long did that take us? No time at all. I actually like this with some olive oil and tuna. So I'm just gonna twirl it up. There you go. It's ready to eat. Now, the funny thing is, right now, our time of year, and I'm Catholic, it has to do with Lent, and I actually give up pasta for Lent. So I can't really eat this right now. So I got my camera guy, Dennis. I'm gonna have him try it, and he's gonna tell you what he thinks. Okay, we got our pasta done, ready to go. We're gonna give it to our guy, Dennis here. He's gonna tell us what he thinks. Told him to tell me the truth.
Delicioso.
There we go. Straight from Dennis. He likes it. There you go. Okay, so now that we cooked our pasta, Dennis ate it and he liked it. We moved from the stove back to our tabletop. Now, when I was making the pasta dough and I was making those little bow ties, I mentioned about dyeing pasta. So what I did was, for you guys, I dyed some pasta and I made some crafts for you. Check them out. So being that you guys are in first grade, these are things that you can make. So I made these at home. Got pasta here, dyed it blue, green, orange, red, purple, and I came up with a lion, 2 fish. Here, you can make a necklace, bracelet for your friends. Whatever your little minds want to create, you can create. Again, would not recommend eating this. And that is it. We're done with this part now. The next thing we're going to move on to is you guys have questions. And we're going to answer those right now. We'll go to, and I got them on cards because I want to answer them as best as I can. We'll start with Lily. Lily has a 3-parter, and I appreciate that because I get to answer a lot of questions here. First, what is your favorite food? Well, my favorite food is food. I can't lie about that. I like everything. Well, of course I like Italian. I like American. I like Mexican. I like Southern cooking, ribs, barbecue. I love desserts. Who doesn't like desserts, right? We make a bunch of desserts and I can show them to you in just a second. Let's see. Let's talk about some weird foods we have here. It's more along the lines of French food, but we have escargot. You know what that is? Snails. Yes, we make a lot of snails here and people love them. Another food is tripe. Do you have any idea what tripe is? I'll give you a second. And we sell 30 pounds of it all the time here. Ready? And it's delicious. I grew up on it. It's cow stomach. Can you believe that? People eat cow stomach. Yep, it's true. Let's see here. We have the next question. What is the most popular food you make? I would have to say right now, because of Lent, fish is big, seafood, shrimp and scallops. Another popular thing we make is chicken romano. People love that. Our fried zucchini appetizer, that's another huge seller. We sell that all day from lunch until dinner. All day, people get it to go all the time. Part 3, you asked me, what food do you not like to make? I don't like to make. The only thing I can say about that is when we're really busy, we have certain recipes that take a little bit longer. So someone like Dennis who works here, he's a cook. I might not technically say, hey Dennis, you make that, but if he's making it, fine. But if I'm too busy, I will say, hey Dennis, make that dish. I'll give a couple examples. Let's say we have a dish called chicken Frankie. It's chicken with roasted red peppers, black olives, and artichokes. And there's a lemon and butter with it. The thing I don't like making about that is I don't like making it, but there's a lot of steps involved. So if I have to occupy my time doing that, there's certain things I can't do. And my main job is the grill and the broiler. So when I have things inside of there and it's over 500 degrees, I cannot let them burn on me. Or if I have steaks on the grill, I have to make sure they're done as how the customer wants them cooked. I can't overcook things or undercook them. So my brain is always firing on the broiler. So great questions, Lily. Thank you. We're gonna move on to, let's go to Brooks. It's a cool name, Brooks. How do you get all the food you need to cook with? Well, we get the food from, they're called purveyors. Those are the people that bring our food in from places like Erie or the phone again. Don't worry, Answer Machine will get that. We actually have our lamb that comes from New Zealand. And our fish, some of it comes from the Atlantic Ocean. And these food purveyors go all around and they bring them on food trucks and they bring them to us. We actually have a local place in Elizabeth and they bring us our produce. And our produce comes from local farms or around, areas from here. And we try to keep our farmers, have them, plant the food so it's local, and we're supporting local businesses right now. It's very important. And during the summer times, believe it or not, at my house, I grow our own basil and I bring it here. Sometimes I'll grow cherry tomatoes because they grow so much and I can bring them here from work. So some things I actually bring from my house garden. Next question. Colton, good question. Are pets and animals allowed in your restaurant? Because I never see signs that say no pets, animals allowed when I'm in restaurants. You are right, we don't have those signs, but I really have to tell you, there are people in need of them. They're called service dogs, therapy dogs, or seeing eye dogs. We actually do have a customer here who brings his dog here because he has certain disabilities that require him to have a dog in order for him to be in a public place or make him feel comfortable. So it gives him support. So the dog is very well mannered, very polite. He literally just will sit underneath the table the whole time, won't say a peep. And the important thing about them is they're actually work dogs. They're not meant to be pet by strangers, because sometimes if you see a dog walking with their owner and you want to pet him, and that's nice, but a dog that is a therapy dog or a service dog, they are doing their job. So they're to be left alone when they're with their owner, and it's to keep that owner comfortable. So I've seen them at Home Depot. They're allowed by law to be in hospitals, in schools, believe it or not, to comfort children who might have a disability. So yeah, they are allowed in. Lawson, what is it like to be in a restaurant and cooking all day? Okay, Lawson, now I have to be honest. The restaurant business, especially for the owner, can be very difficult. Sometimes I start my day at 5 a.m. and don't finish until 10 p.m. or even later sometimes. Every job has its ups and downs. We all have our good days and bad days. Cooking all day, yes. We prep and cook. Prep is our preparation. Like at the beginning of the morning, we get things ready so when we're cooking, it's easy to get. Things are easy to grab. When we need things like our fried zucchini, we bread it ahead of time, so when someone orders it, we just, drop it in our fryer and it's ready to go. Boom, boom, boom. Cooking all day. Prepping also means making our desserts. We make our desserts in the mornings. That's the best time to make it. So we were talking about that. And in our freezer, I just made this yesterday. A lot of things are made from scratch. And this here is our spumoni ice cream. See all the layers? We have vanilla, chocolate, strawberry. This is a multi-colored ice cream, and that's why it turns out the color it does, but that has little fruits inside. Back to the chocolate, back back to the vanilla. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 layers of ice cream. I'm sure you guys will love it. That's one ice cream we make. I make an ice cream called limoncello ice cream. It's really, really good. I made up the recipe, boom, in my head. My mom and I, we both make a tiramisu. I make cannoli. My brother makes different types of cheesecakes. So, to answer your question, yeah, it is literally cooking all day. What it's like, again, you have to love this to do it. You have to have a passion for it, because then it will make it just even harder to do. So when you think about something you guys want to do when you're older, make sure you absolutely love it, because it just makes your job easier. All right, last question's from Quinn. Cool name, Quinn. Can you do a kitchen tour for us? Why, yes I can. Let's go. Okay, Quinn, first graders, let's go on that tour of the kitchen. Okay, so moving right here, this is our steam table, where during work we have our soups here. Sometimes we have them here on the weekends, because if it's doubled, it helps us in the long run. Here is another part of the steam table. We keep our garlic bread nice and warm and soft. Moving on to here is our salad station, where we make our salads. This here, where I was doing work for you guys, is one of our prep tables. Our stand mixer here, our slicer. We're cutting meats, slicing zucchini, whatever you need, our cheeses. Moving over to here is our fryer, where we do our French fries, chicken fingers and fries, our appetizers. Moving on to the stove, where I cooked that pasta, and we had that little burst of flame. Here, ovens, 1, 2, 3, 4 ovens. This is our broiler. This is where I was telling you before, where I work mostly. Cook our steaks and everything on here. Oven up here is our fish, chicken, things of that nature. So we're going to move over to our bigger steam table here. This is where we keep our sauces during our work hours. Our meat sauce, tomato, marinara. We have our gravy, our margarine, butter for cooking. We have our vegetable of the day, whatever we cook for that day. We're going to say stewed zucchini or escarole, which is like a traditional greens that people just absolutely love when we have it. This is for that purpose here. Then we're going to move down. Here's our grinder, where we put our meats through. We make our meatballs. We can take this attachment off, and if we need breadcrumbs right away, we can throw bread in there. Over here's our butcher block, where we use our mallet to pound chicken, steaks, any type of meats. It's done here. Refrigerator here. Freezer over here. Again, another dry erase board. I made that note for myself because I got to make that ice cream because we sold out. Over here, this big guy is called a walk-in cooler. Says enough, right? Could you imagine being at your house, opening a door, and walking into your fridge? So, in there, not too cold. Okay, you could probably stand there for a little bit. Gonna move over this way. And here is our walk-in freezer. Now this is cold. So cold in there. I'm gonna turn it off. The light, not the cooler. Oh, I'm freezing. What the? There's a banana in my pocket. Now, why would there be a banana in the walk-in freezer? Oh, that's right. Funny story is, when my dad is here and people ask him, "Hey Frank, what's the secret recipe in your food?" He goes, "Bananas," because he doesn't want to give recipes away. Those are his secret traits, and he just likes people to eat his food. He doesn't really like giving away his ingredients. But speaking of banana, I have something we could make. Another recipe, and I think you guys will like it. Let's go back to the prep table. Okay guys, now that we're back at the prep table, I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do with that banana. So, a couple things we have: banana, some blackberries, Rice Krispies, some Fruity Pebbles, peanut butter. I took these from my son Santino. Don't worry, kid. Daddy will buy you more cereal. Okay, back to our sushi. The first time I made this, it got a little sloppy, so I was trying to think, if you guys are going to do this at home, what might be a better way of doing this? You might have wooden skewers at your house, little wooden things like this. I was thinking maybe if you put it in here, so you don't have to hold the banana, and use a butter knife instead of a spoon, and just do it this way. I'm doing this for you guys. Okay, so that's pretty well coated. Okay, take the banana, gonna roll it. Let's get as many of these on there as you can. Okay, there we go. Okay, there's a rolled. This would be a good like lunch snack. We've got colored Fruity Pebbles on top. There we go. Just a little bit like that. Now, the blackberries, the reason I have these, because normally on sushi, you have fish eggs on top. So we're not going to put fish eggs on top of peanut butter banana. So we're just going to do like this. Okay, take our skewer out, move to the plate here. Now for the parents, this would be your part. Okay. There you go. There is your peanut butter, banana, Rice Krispie, Fruity Pebble, lunch snack, sushi. Enjoy. Okay, so we finished up with our sushi. We're gonna continue our tour because we never got into the dining room area. Okay, let's go. Okay, coming out into the dining room, it's dark because today's Monday and we're closed. So we're gonna go over here, turn the lights on. I must explain, the restaurant looks the way it does now is because of COVID, and we're really restricted on how many people to sit, where they need to sit. It's supposed to be 6 feet apart. So over here, we have a couple booths that go around there, and that's one way out. Okay, we're gonna move over to this area. Right over here is one of the entrances for customers to come in. Actually, that is our main entrance for customers to come in because we have to have a one-way in, one-way out system. Right here would have been another dining room area, but as you can see, this is where we have to keep our to-go boxes and our cleaning station. This would be our main dining room here. The reason it's set the way it is to have people separated by distance because of COVID. That's our office in the back there. We have a couple TVs for like sporting events or people that want to have something on. And we have a banquet room downstairs that is the size of this dining room that we use for parties, communions, wedding showers, birthdays. And again, we have to use that for storage area because we can't technically use that due to restrictions. So in a nutshell, that's the tour of our kitchen, the dining room, our other smaller dining room, and we'll see where we're gonna go from here. All right, moving on. Okay, boys and girls, just did the tour. We're back in the kitchen. We're gonna pretty much end this in a way right now. One thing I forgot to mention, and I did want to point out, is behind me here, we have this thing. It's an elevator, but we call it a dumbwaiter. That was a term used years ago in the service industry where it would be actually tables, and the reason it was called a dumbwaiter, whenever they were busy and they didn't have enough people working, they would put food on the tables, and those would act like another waiter, and being that it wasn't a real person, back in those days they just called it dumb because it wasn't a person, it was just a way to use something when they were busy and they would have all the food on it. But the cool thing about this is when I was telling you about our banquet room, we have a room in our downstairs that we use for parties and things. So when we're cooking up here, we put the food on here, and the food goes downstairs. Then we got another button to bring it back up, and food comes back up, and we can repeat that as many times as we need to. That's a very cool thing to have. So, I don't think at this point there's really many more things I could talk about. I mean, I could go on and on about a lot of things about restaurant related, but I think we covered a lot of things from the kitchen. We made pasta. Dennis ate the pasta. We made a little lunch snack sushi with a banana and peanut butter Rice Krispies, and showed you the dining room. I hope all you boys and girls learned something today from me. I really, really appreciated doing this for you. I want to thank your teacher so much for reaching out to me and letting me do this. I hope this was a success for you. I hope you guys like what I did for you. And another thing, actually two things I want to leave you off with is, when I said my name, just a little lesson for you. My name is Frank Ciccanti. It's spelled Ciccanti. In Italian, the Ci is a ch sound. So if you guys are wondering when you see the spelling, why is it not Ciccanti? Could be Ciccanti in the way Americans say it, and we have no problem with that, but the proper way of saying it is Ciccanti. The last thing, and the final thing I'll leave you off with. When I said earlier about what's it like to work in a restaurant, and I told you, when you find something that you want to do when you grow up, and you love it, and I'm sure Mrs. Dubiak loves being a teacher, so you got to find something you love. And with the word love, this is what I'm going to teach you right now, a little Italian lesson. When you go home and you see your parents, I'm going to teach you a little Italian phrase. I'm going to teach you how to say, like, I love you in Italian, or how to express, like, love to your family. You're going to say, ti voglio bene. Say, Mom, Dad, or whoever guardian you live with, or your grandparents, uncles, aunt, someone you love and care for, you tell them, ti voglio bene. That's you expressing how you feel for them. And that's a way also, when my dad talks about ingredients in his food, he goes bananas. Well, when people ask me what's my secret ingredient that I put into food, I say my heart. Because everything is done from my heart when it comes to food, when it comes to my customers. So even whenever you do something for your family at home, and you could tell your mom and dad or your guardian, or even your brother and sister, if you did something for them, and you say, how did you do that? You tell them you did it with your heart, okay? And I say a lot of things online, and I say it's from my heart. So for my family, to everyone here, to your guys' family, to everyone in your school, thank you for letting me be part of you guys, and let my restaurant be a part of your classroom. And I just want to say a big, huge thank you from the bottom of my heart. And we'll see you again maybe one day soon. Ciao.